This is a fascinating topic. The full true story of the Nazca Lines is a blend of archaeological discovery, scientific deduction, and enduring mystery. Here is a comprehensive breakdown based on the current consensus of historians and archaeologists. The Nazca people, a pre-Incan civilization that flourished in what is now southern Peru. When? They were created between 200 BCE and 600 CE, with the peak activity occurring between 100 and 700 CE. The Nazca culture. The Nazca culture emerged from the earlier Paracas culture, known for their intricate textiles and complex burial practices. The Nazca people were expert engineers and artists. They developed sophisticated irrigation systems called puquios to bring water from underground aquifers to the arid desert for agriculture. Spiritually complex. They had a strong religious belief system, likely centered around agriculture and fertility, and venerated deities associated with mountains, sky, and water, vital resources in the desert. Master potters and weavers. Their beautiful polychrome pottery, decorated with vivid colors and depictions of animals, plants, and mythical beings, is a key source of information about their world. The creation of the lines was a communal ritual act, not the work of aliens or a lost advanced technology. It was well within the capabilities of this skilled and organized society. The astonishing simplicity of their method is a key part of the story. The Nazca Desert is a unique canvas. The surface is covered in a layer of dark sun-baked rocks rich in iron oxide. Beneath this is a lighter-colored subsoil. The Nazca people drew the lines by removing the top 12-15 inches of dark rocks, exposing the contrasting light sand beneath. This process, combined with one of the driest and most wind-stable climates on Earth, has preserved the lines for over 2,000 years. They could have designed the figures using simple scaling techniques. A small model could be enlarged using a grid of stakes and ropes, allowing teams of workers to recreate the design on a massive scale. The straight lines and geometric shapes are even simpler to create with basic surveying techniques using wooden posts. The leading theories. This is the core of the mystery. Since the lines are best appreciated from the air, a perspective the Nazca couldn't have had, their purpose has been widely debated. The most accepted theories are religious and astronomical. A. The water and fertility cult theory, most widely accepted. This theory, heavily supported by renowned researcher Johann Reinhard, posits that the lines were sacred pathways connected to rituals to summon water. The Nazca lived in an extremely arid environment where water was life. The animal geoglyphs, monkey, hummingbird, spider, etc., may have represented spirits or deities associated with water and fertility. For example, the monkey is an animal of the rainforest, a water-rich environment, and the hummingbird appears after rains. The lines themselves may have been walked along as processional routes during ceremonies to pray for rain from the mountain gods. The astronomical calendar theory, first proposed by historian Paul Kosak and later expanded by mathematician Maria Reiche, the Lady of the Lines, who dedicated her life to studying and preserving them. This theory suggests the lines acted as a giant astronomical calendar. Some lines align with the solstice and equinox sunsets, as well as the rising and setting points of certain stars and constellations. This celestial knowledge would have been crucial for an agricultural society, telling them when to plant and harvest crops, and when seasonal rains might arrive. A multi-purpose sacred landscape. Most modern archaeologists believe the purpose wasn't singular. The geoglyphs were likely part of an integrated sacred landscape. The lines pointed toward ceremonial centers, huases, and water sources in the mountains. They served multiple functions: ritual pathways for ceremonial walks and dances, astronomical markers to track celestial events, territorial markers defining areas for different clans or purposes, a form of communication with the gods. The large-scale images were likely meant for the gods in the sky, not for humans. Debunking the myths. Not alien landing strips popularized by Erich von Däniken in the 1960s, this theory has no archaeological evidence. The lines are shallow scratches on the desert floor, incapable of supporting any form of aircraft. The Nazca people had both the capability and a clear cultural reason to create them. Not an ancient map. There is no evidence the lines chart underground waterways or any other landscape in a practical, cartographic sense. Their alignment with geographical features is ritual, not utilitarian. Timeline of key events. c. 200 BCE, 600 CE. Nazca culture creates the geoglyphs over centuries. 1920s. Peruvian archaeologists first begin to study the lines after the advent of airplanes. However, they were visible to hikers on nearby foothills long before. 1939. American historian Paul Kosak flies over the lines and calls them the largest astronomy book in the world. 1940s, 1990s. German mathematician Maria Reiche becomes the line's foremost researcher and guardian, living at the site for decades to map, study, and protect them from damage. 1994. UNESCO designates the Nazca Lines a World Heritage Site, recognizing their immense cultural value. The threats and preservation. The lines are incredibly fragile. The main threats today are encroachment, urban expansion, and farming. Climate change. Increasingly rare but violent rainfall and floods can erode the lines. Human damage. Unfortunately, the lines have been damaged by squatters, miners, and most infamously, by political activists, e.g. Greenpeace in 2014, and truck drivers who veer off the Pan American Highway. In conclusion, the true story of the Nazca Lines is not one of extraterrestrials, but of a remarkable human culture, the Nazca people, who used simple technology and profound spiritual belief to transform their desert landscape into a vast, enduring, and sacred expression of their relationship with the forces of nature.